What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody? How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
Good. Welcome, everyone, to our July 7th show of Daily Gaming News.
That's right. Took a 3-day weekend to enjoy the holiday. Hope everybody had a good time, safe time.
Yeah, happy 4th of July. There were so many fireworks that I heard. It was a little bit wild, honestly.
Yeah, there was maybe too much.
Maybe too much, and then I also watched a lot of Hamilton and heard all my neighbors watch Hamilton as well. So
was that a thing going on? You were guys like having a Hamilton party?
I think it was like since it just like released, like everyone was watching it at the same time, and maybe they heard my TV playing and were like, "Oh, those songs are really good. Maybe
awesome.
I'll watch it too." Welcome everyone, new and
returning. Hey,
G26.
Welcome. Oh yeah, let me turn.
Appreciate you being here.
Oh, much better.
Nice.
There it is.
Nice.
Let there be light. All right. So let's dive right in as some news has come out recently regarding Warzone Season 5 and the changes that are ahead.
With Infinity Ward sneaking in Easter eggs alluding to another Call of Duty game in Call of Duty Warzone's map, it seems that this is all part of a plan that will materialize in Call of Duty Warzone Season 5. Apparently, starting next season, the map will undergo a big change.
So according to people involved with development, some of the changes include a revamp of the map's large football stadium to include an open interior, something I've been wanting for a really long time. And the addition is a train filled with loot. Allegedly, this is a part of an effort to make Verdansk more in line with this year's Call of Duty game, which rumors have said will implement Warzone into it.
I love that the stadium is going to open up because I remember we read an article about, real life places in Ukraine that are in the game, and that stadium is actually closed in real life. So it's like realistic that you can't actually go in there. So moreover, the teases and other stuff dished out by Infinity Ward ties into this and will have this year's Call of Duty reveal happen in Warzone, something which rumors have pointed out to before as well. The nuclear warhead found in Warzone will be used to trigger the map change in Warzone, and this will coincide with the announcement of this year's Call of Duty game.
And it is very important to take note to this information, as this is a rumor, so we have to take rumors with a grain of salt. However, that said, it does actually make sense if this turns out to be true. There's no word yet on when we'll see Season 5, but chances are it'll actually be sometime in August.
What do you think about this? As congratulations on your 100 Warzone wins, by the way.
Hey, thank you so much. Yeah.
How does this tie into that, and what are you looking forward to?
I would say having the stadium as a location to actually go into is really exciting because I feel there are certain changes that need to happen to the map. Ultimately to just keep it fresh. There was a few times in grinding that 100th win where the final circle kept going to like the same area. And so it became very kind of like just repetitive.
Predictable. The whole point of the circle is that it's not repetitive.
Correct.
As well.
Yes. So if they do make changes to the map itself, it's going to be just really strong for feeling fresh. And of course, hopefully not just the stadium and not just this train, but other areas will change up as well.
And I think people have been looking forward to this map change for a while. Ever since we saw, the nuclear warhead, people were thinking that was going to lead to a map change, especially since Call of Duty Warzone is trying to keep up with Fortnite and all the Fortnite map changes. I think this is something that's been, pointed to for a while. So it's nice to hear, that this is coming soon. Yeah.
Now, there is a question that I'm curious on, which is kind of the complaint about Warzone right now, which is just there's so many cheaters and hackers in the game that are just ruining the experience. And there's been more reports on that, and there's been more bugs that have come out. Things have actually happened where there are people now getting banned unintentionally due to having like a stream going, and the game is reading the stream as if the stream is injecting something. And those are permanent bans without any review. So now these people, if they've spent money, have lost all this money, everything that they've spent on this, which is just a little shady when that happens.
I'm surprised that they're getting permabanned for this, and we've been, asking for permabans for so many cheaters for so long.
Yeah.
Like, this is not where that energy should be going.
Yeah, at all. And then you also have another thing to take into consideration is, and this is just some of the things that some people have just been wondering is, is the game too late to make fundamental changes to stop people from bleeding over into the next Call of Duty title when it comes out? Because the one thing I think Treyarch's definitely going to do is make sure they don't have these issues as we've seen with Modern Warfare.
Right. I think it's interesting that it's, different developers working on these games, because that's competition within the games themselves, even though I feel like it should all be or feel more like a group project, or there's more synergy there. Hopefully Treyarch is going to do a lot better, and I'm surprised to hear that, Warzone and Infinity Ward still have all these issues, because we've been talking about the cheaters for months, we've been talking about the bugs for months, and it doesn't seem that anything's really changed, has it?
No. That's just it, is seen an increase a tenfold, I would say. There's at least, if I play 10 matches, I would say half of those matches you have somebody cheating. And then I would say the other thing are bugs that tend to happen. There's some where people get stuck. They can't jump away and get out of a situation. So you have to go find a vehicle, pull the vehicle over to them so they can actually get out of this
so they can
trap.
Yeah.
Other aspects of people being shot and clearly not taking any damage. There's a lot of weird stuff. And then the bans. People getting banned for having a stream going in the game, thinking that the stream is some sort of, injection or whatever it is. And knowing that it's not just an isolated incident there's a lot of problems with the game that it's hard not to notice when you play it so frequently.
I'm surprised that streams were, what was causing a lot of bans, because I would think that that's the one thing that games would really want to promote, and I haven't heard that problem in any other game. So to hear that, that's something to be careful of when playing Warzone is just a bit of a surprise to me. Do you have hope for the next season? Do you think things will get better?
If they do the whole, we're going to nuke it, we're going to change the map, I think you'll get people that will stay on and continue to play. But I really do believe that there is a strong interest from the community to approach the next Call of Duty game with more hope than this one. Just simply because of all the problems at the core of Modern Warfare and Warzone. Right. So I think people are excited to jump over. I mean, you even have popular streamers like Courage that really aren't playing the game anymore. They're doing modified versions of the game where they're playing, and if one person dies, they all die kind of approach to the game. So even individuals like that are making changes just because I think they've hit a ceiling already.
Right. And with now that you have 100 wins, do you think you were playing just to get to that landmark, or do you think you're going to still continue playing because you enjoy the game? Because I know you have a lot of criticism of the game, so I don't know if you still consider it fun, really.
Yeah, I think the most fun I have with it are the teammates that I play with. I have a close friend of mine from back on the original Modern Warfare that I met that I played with, and him and I have started to play again on this one. So that's really cool. And I think teammates make it more enjoyable, but
they make the game. Yeah, definitely.
You're right. I think I am excited about the next one more than I'm currently excited about this one.
I see. So it's something to look forward to. Yeah.
And for now, Warzone's where I'm at because I've been focusing all the time on it. It's kind of like I took all the energy I had into Rocket League and threw it over now into this. And I'm already excited about being like, hey, I'll jump to this next one because, I just don't want to deal with the stuff that I deal with now.
And that kind of leads us into our next topic because, there's a game that we are looking forward to as well, which is bumping up the original game on the Steam charts.
That is very true, as Horizon Zero Dawn has taken the top seller on Steam, and it's not even out yet.
So Horizon Zero Dawn isn't even out on PC yet, but it's already making waves. The one-time PlayStation exclusive shot up to the top of the Steam top seller charts based on the strength of pre-orders alone. And we have to imagine it will be back up when the game actually releases on August 7th. For PlayStation 4 owners, the game is an old hat, and they're now looking forward to Horizon Forbidden West in 2021. PC players are clearly raring to go.
So it is a big deal. Exclusive first-party development is arguably Sony's greatest strength and the linchpin in its hardware strategy. We've talked about this a lot regarding the PlayStation 5's probable success over the Xbox Series X. Exclusive games are what allowed the PlayStation 3 to recover from a very rocky launch to end out the generation well. Exclusive games are what allow the PS4 to capitalize on Microsoft's missteps to win the current generation hands down. And like Nintendo, the company has been understandably cautious about letting its most valuable properties outside of the walled garden.
But Horizon Zero Dawn shows a pretty good example of Sony's path forward here, which should mean even better visibility for its IP and more sales of both its hardware and software. Sure, you could argue that making exclusive games available elsewhere lessens the incentive to buy a PlayStation console, but Zero Dawn is 3 years old now and probably not moving a ton of consoles. Releasing on PC not only allows Sony to get some money off the strength of sales alone, which is never a bad thing, and it introduces a ton of PC players to a new franchise. And who knows, it might just be enough to get them to consider a PS5 when it's time to play the sequel.
So, worst case scenario, Sony makes a bunch of money selling a video game, which is always the goal. Best case scenario, it builds hype for the newer games and hardware and moves some bigger sales, which, whatever happens, PC players will get more access to games that we've seen PlayStation players already have access to.
I am personally really excited for this because I have never played Horizon Zero Dawn and I currently don't have a PlayStation console. So here we go. And I am planning to get the PS5, so I'm the perfect target market for this.
Yes, and that's just it, is like there is a market of gamers that all on PC have wanted to play and experience these games, but they're like, I'm not going to go buy the console, buy the game, buy the setup, and then have it. I want to just pay the $50, $60 and be able to play the game. And now they're finally getting a chance to do that. And what is this game going to look like on a high-powered PC is going to be a glimpse into what it's probably going to look like on the PlayStation 5.
Right, that's a good point. I wonder if anyone in the chat is planning on playing this game. If you already have, some people said that they loved this game so much. Highly recommend this game. It just looks like such an adventure, and I've heard so much about it. I've just heard the name Horizon Zero Dawn so many times before I actually even knew, what the game was remotely about. And I think this is a good opportunity. I'm all for seeing games that have previously been exclusives move to PC, even move to the Switch. Sometimes I don't think it hurts, especially when the game is 3 years old. People aren't going to buy. People aren't going to be looking to buy PS4s right now, really, unless they're looking for a more budget console. Because they're just waiting for the next gen. I think this is the perfect opportunity to launch this for PC.
Exactly right. Excuse me. Yeah. It is, Kane. It is on the PlayStation 4, and it is one of those titles that almost every Sony PlayStation owner said when you play this game, it is impressive from beginning to end. The gameplay, the story, the graphics, just everything that this provides you. It's a very similar experience to like The Witcher was. But on the hand of The Witcher, you could play it on PC, whereas this one, it was if you want to experience Horizon Zero Dawn, you only can own a PlayStation 4. And now that not being the case means not only, as we were saying, that the sales will increase, but what does that mean potentially for the sale of PlayStation 5s, as maybe we see people who already have their PC and go, I want a new experience, and they jump to the PlayStation 5.
And I think this is also good for those like me who feel like they kind of missed the wave of, not playing Horizon Zero Dawn when it first came out. I think this is a good opportunity to, reach out to gamers that haven't played the game yet and to introduce them to the franchise. I feel like for some franchises, they maybe feel a bit like gatekeepy, where it's like, oh, if you haven't played like all the sequels, like don't even bother. And so I think this is also cool to see that it's like, hey, even though you know nothing about this game, like we want to like welcome you over to playing these games versus just have it be an exclusive group.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where I'm now curious going into the PlayStation 5's release, if Sony's strategy is to start to... What's up, Valley? If Sony's strategy is to actually start releasing its old PS4 exclusive titles on PC, so that its PC players go, you know what, wow, I'm really impressed by these exclusives. I need to play more of these exclusives. I'll go and get myself a PlayStation 5.
Right.
Interesting, but also very effective strategy.
That reminds me of like giving a sample, like, oh, here, you want a taste of a PlayStation exclusive? Like, You're gonna bite, or you're gonna buy a
They're
console
just standing
after
out there with
this?
the little tray.
Right? Anyone
Yeah.
want to try PlayStation exclusive here?
Yeah.
No, totally. I mean, I didn't really get the hype of, PlayStation exclusives, until I borrowed my friend's PlayStation, and then, now I'm definitely going to buy the PS5, and it worked for me. So if that's their strategy, I think it's a good one.
Yeah, and Reapathy, I would echo what you just said. God of War on PC, yes, please. I mean, that is another one where PC players, I'm sure, have gone, I want to be able to play with God of War, but I just want to play on a PC. And if they make that possible, oh my God, I would swear you're going to see even more people go, okay, I got to go and become, a Sony consumer now, because these experiences are just, they're too good to not have them. Right.
You don't want to be missing out. This is like, if you're in the gaming community, like sometimes there are games that you kind of need to play. You don't need to play them, but it's nice to be in the loop, and they're good games. Yeah,
I get what you mean. It's like you don't need to do it, but I think there's an aspect of being a gamer where we're like, but am I a gamer if I haven't played this?
That's how I feel. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, do I lose my gamer card if I don't play
lose my gamer
this?
Card.
Maybe you do. Maybe you do.
Right. You're definitely going to be talking to a lot of gamers, and they'll pull the what? You've never played this, and you're just like, I haven't. Like, leave me alone.
Exactly.
I'll get to the game eventually.
Yeah, and what's actually funny is that conversation and that discussion right there leads us into the next story here. As when gamers can take it just a little bit too far, and they can begin to say some things that we obviously should be able to come together and say this shouldn't exist. This Naughty Dog had to come out and condemn abusive fans sending death threats and harassing The Last of Us 2 team.
Andrew Webster of The Verge reports The Last of Us Part 2 developer Naughty Dog has issued a statement condemning harassment after several members of the creative team were subjected to abuse and hateful messages. Since the game's launch on June 19th, members of the team, including co-director Neil Druckmann and voice actor Laura Bailey, have posted several examples of abusive and often violent messages sent their way. And yesterday, the studio made a statement in support of the staff.
And this is what they said. Although we welcome critical discussion, we condemn any form of harassment or threats directed towards our team and cast. They posted this on Twitter and continued saying, their safety is our top priority, but we must all work together to root out this type of behavior and actually maintain a constructive and compassionate discourse.
The controversy started even before the game launched, thanks to a massive leak that revealed several key story moments, including the death of a beloved character. This was followed by more innocuous things like review bombing, all the way up to hateful and violent messages directed at specific members of the team.
And Druckmann, for instance, posted a selection of anti-Semitic messages he received, noting, quote, you can love or hate the game and share your thoughts about it. Unfortunately, too many of the messages I've been getting are vile, hateful, and violent. Meanwhile, Bailey, who voiced Abby, one of Last of Us 2's main characters, received a number of disturbing death threats. Sometimes this just gets a little overwhelming, she wrote. In response, Druckmann said, unfortunately, now is the cost of making popular entertainment that challenges conventions.
Despite the controversy, The Last of Us 2 has proven to be a major blockbuster for Sony. The company says that it's the fastest-selling PS4 exclusive to date, moving 4 million copies in its first 3 days of availability.
I'm all about expressing your opinion in a constructively critical way. But anybody, I don't know if you saw some of these, and we're not going to
horrible. We're not going to show them on stream. If you want to look them up,
oh my God,
they're out there.
Reading these messages blew my mind that people were writing these, and I was like, it was weird. I was having those moments of like looking at the little like their avatar images or sorry, their little like handle images, profile pictures, and just like seeing those people's faces. And part of me is like, what happened to you to feel this way, to go out of your way to write this?
Right, I think there's such a disconnect. Mick says, what? Gamers are toxic to their developers? No way.
Yeah.
So I think there is an acceptable level of salt, but what we're seeing is just way overboard. And I think it fits into this whole idea that like, oh, like streamers aren't real people, developers aren't real people. Like if you're in the public eye, you're just gonna have to take this kind of, this kind of hatred. But like some of the messages you see are things that are just way out of hand, way out of line. They're the kind of responses that you would see people in the comments maybe going like, hey, I took this screenshot and I sent it to your mother on Facebook who I found, you know, and like that's sometimes the only way to get around to these people who like, they don't realize that their words have consequences.
Yeah, and this is one of those things. Like, so I'm one of those people who did not enjoy this game as a whole. Overall, I would say it's like a C plus, B minus. This is where I kind of sit with The Last of Us 2. Like, I can understand what would make people upset who waited 10 years for this title, and they were upset with things that happened. I get that. And even Druckmann came out and was like identifying why this kind of stuff happened and what the whole point and purpose behind some of these story elements were. And I still was like, you know what? I don't agree with you as a storyteller for doing it this way, but it's your story and that's the story you chose to tell. But at no point was I like, I hate you, Neil Druckmann. I hate you, this character playing this actress playing this character. Like, I just don't understand how that wasn't ingrained in these people at some point, or they feel the way that they do and they express themselves in the way that they do. Like, it just, this behavior is just so odd to me that it's still happening.
Right, it's like they're so mad that the game wasn't what they wanted, so they had to take it out on like the closest thing they could find, which is the voice actors, which is Neil Druckmann. Gonzo says keyboard warriors don't think that there are consequences to their words or actions, and it's so one-sided on the internet because, you know, you can send a horrible message to Neil Druckmann, you might think that he'll never see it, you know, you don't get any consequences, you don't get to, he doesn't get to talk back to you, you know, it's just such a one-way street. And it's just really sad to see, and I think sometimes people unfortunately don't understand, you know, how much it hurts until it happens to them. It's so easy to just say, hey, just ignore the trolls. You know, it's random people on the internet, like, what do they matter? But you know, these people really do, and you know, those words, do affect the creators. Mick says a couple indie developers quit the industry because of this. Which is just horrible. And, you know, I personally ask pretty much every day, like, how some of these big streamers even do it by just seeing the trolls in their chat and, you know, how much of a toll that takes. And it, you know, it also detracts so much from the joy of being a game developer or for being a voice actor or any kind of entertainer, because your job is to create, you know, to create a game, to create content, to have fun, to entertain people. And when like a cost of doing that is like your emotional health and well-being, that does ruin it for a lot of people, and that does, you know, make it not worth it.
It's why I understand some of these individuals who just never get on social media. They don't have accounts. They just remove themselves from it because it's just not worth it. Do you want to read stuff like that? Do you want to be exposed to stuff like that? I mean, an example of that is like, imagine just being in your room and just randomly somebody could just like appear in your room, shout something very hateful at you, and then just magically disappear, and you could do nothing about it. That's exactly what it is. And so if that happens in succession and it's multiplied, why ever, you know, allow yourself to be in that situation? So, you know, maybe it just would become a place where it's like, these companies should just actually start to say that, guys, use social media at your own risk, but we advise you to stop using it. We advise you to get off of it. Why not? Maybe there's actually a mental health benefit to it. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a change is happening anytime soon, because I think something about the last couple of years have shown is like there is still this deep-seated prejudice and hatred that is going on within people, that they gotta go and spread this vile hatred towards others.
And I wonder how many creators that keeps out of the industry, because a lot of artists in general, I would say, are maybe more soft-hearted, or they're more, you know, vulnerable, or they're like open with their, you know, creativity, which I think is necessary as an artist. And, you know, you're signing up for the artistry part. You're not signing up to be like internet famous. But, you know, in this day and age, you kind of have to be, like, even for, you know, certain projects, people will ask, well, how many followers do you have? Or like, oh, how, you know, how valuable are you based on how many followers you have? And so, like, there is a pressure to be on social media, but at the same time, you know, it might not be the best thing for a lot of these creators.
Yeah, and this is where my hope this is where it's kind of like you zoom out from the gaming industry and you're just like, well, where does the conversation need to lie? And the conversation needs to lie more in just the the open discussion of mental health is as important as physical health. The ability to go and get mental health help is just the same as you needing to go to a doctor and getting a physical. I mean, we need to engage in this dialogue more. It needs to be more widely accepted. Hey, I have a therapist that I'm seeing or a psychologist that I'm seeing, because even now more than ever, especially during COVID, you're seeing more and more people go through just harsh realities of either suffering someone's abuse or being abusive towards other, and they have no outlet to go and heal from it, because it's just not readily available as it should be. And this is just, is really just kind of like a sad day to see this, honestly, and to know this is happening to people who honestly do tell really good stories and have an effect on their viewers and listeners with the stories they tell.
It is, and I personally have hope that this can change, that this will change. A lot of people say, like, oh, well, that's just people. Oh, well, that's the internet. And I don't think it has to be this way. I think, it is possible, for maybe not every day it's going to be like rainbows on the internet, but I think it's it's possible to not receive death threats on the internet as, a normal thing. And also, I mean, I've talked about this on my stream a lot, but people don't realize that there's a very real risk in that. I think, current legislation isn't really equipped to deal with this. If you have, a threat that you might think is real, it's relatively easy to find someone's address on the internet, unfortunately, and you go to the police, they can't really do anything about it. You can file a complaint, but there isn't really any action, and kind of like the burden is on yourself to an extent to protect yourself, which is just terrifying. Just like terrifying to know. And people that do troll as a joke, if anyone listening right now ever trolls as a joke, please keep in mind that, it can often be a real threat. Maybe you don't feel like a real threat, but there are others, that do pose a real threat. And, the people that you kind of just might mindlessly say these things to, like, it's, a real danger to them. It's not funny. It's not just trolling. It's very serious. Yeah.
And that's one of the things, too, about gaming that I think has a place in people's hearts that can be not just entertainment, but also educational, and one that's informative. We think of like a game like Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. We know that that's directly revolved around mental health and what a problem is when someone goes through something like that. I think more games and stories that lend themselves to be in that realm of discussion will allow people to experience what it's like somewhat to go through something like that, to take time to understand how words do hurt. I hated that saying, like, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me. No, words hurt. I was bullied for a long time, and they were mostly words. They hurt. The problem is I didn't have anyone other than my mom to like help me through that. But one of the things about games was something for me is they were forms of escape into storytelling, not just gameplay, where I felt like I was learning about myself and learning about these other made-up people in a way that helped me process through this.
I think that that's a good idea for an indie game. Any indie developers looking for new ideas to have some sort of like social media simulator where you do get all these hateful messages, because I think most people who use social media probably just have their friends online. Most people aren't famous on the internet or have gone viral, and I think just to experience that does give a lot of perspective. Personally, I guess I knew it was bad to say hurtful things, but it wasn't until people I knew or people that I have met, became viral, and then I saw the horrible things that other people were saying about them, and that went viral. It sat so strangely and horribly with me, because like I know that person. Like, you can't talk about that person that way. It's like it hits you differently. So
it really does.
If there was some way to simulate that, if that's in an indie game or some program, I think would do a lot of good.
Hey, Dr. Gonzo, thank you for your service in the medical field. I just want to take a moment. I just saw your chat. Thank you for basically sacrificing your life to help going on in this pandemic, and glad to be able to provide you an escape. KDA, my heart goes out to you in any way that you suffered anything like that. But gaming has always been, especially with the gaming community that has been wonderful and kind to me, was always a place where I felt like there were more of a aspect of family than trolls, even though I've had my fair share experience of trolls.
I agree. Floral Meg does bring up a good point that gaming can be awesome for mental health. There are a lot of good games that spotlight that. A lot of games that are for Life is Strange or games that bring you a sense of community, and then you get to meet other players who play the game. Everyone's kind of in the same boat with that. So I look forward to seeing more of that positivity.
And Mixie said there was a game that was similar to kind of like what you were just talking about. Great. That's more of this. Yeah. We need more of this, and that conversation needs to be definitely at the forefront right now as more and more people, like, I'm sure that actress who took on the role in The Last of Us 2 was like, yes, and had no idea that game was going to come out, and she was like, why am I getting all these death threats? What's wrong? Oh my God, do I need to have to worry about my life?
Right.
I didn't want to take this. Yeah. Oh my God.
So
Ray's point too is something. It is easier to be nice. The problem I find in this is, like, how do you teach someone to be nice? Because I think it's easier to reject. It's easier to say no at something than to accept something and move on with it in your life. But it is true. Once you get into that place, you can be more accepting. Not like the people involved in this situation should be accepting to the hateful comments, but that the people who don't like what their game they're playing will be accepting to the fact that that's just the way it is, and they're not trying to threaten death upon them.
Right. I think this is, it's nice to see some people in the industry lead by example, by, just being more nice and more positive. If people look up to a certain streamer or, a certain like game studio, and to see them, take things really well, which reminds me of like Ninja and Alinity, like apologizing to each other on Twitter, just saying like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. That was toxic. And, maybe to people that are, I guess, used to being nice, that's not a big thing. But to a lot of these people, that is huge. It's kind of like, if you apologize, that's weak. Like, never apologize. Like, that's not cool. So I was, really happy to see that, I guess, level of character development. And, hopefully that continues. And hopefully people that thought that being toxic was, like, cool and funny realize that, the cool people... I don't know if you think those streamers are cool, but just cool people in general in the industry. There are other, individuals doing the same thing. Are apologizing and are taking responsibility, and really do think before they speak.
There is a lot of strength in that, and we need to possess that strength. Like Ellie's character in The Last of Us Part 2 is like a lot of the decisions that you make prior might not be ones you necessarily agree with later. The strength in, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, and all those things that we see a lot of games and films and TV shows explore those narratives are. There is strength in forgiveness, and there is strength in apologizing for making a mistake. I know I have things in my past where I don't get to go back and undo them or do a reset. I just have to, move on and accept as is.
So our next topic of the day is the Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay leak, which we're going to take a look at. And I guess before we start, I wanted to say that I'm trying to look at this through no bias, because when I was looking for an article to, kind of slot into our news, there were a lot of people being very critical of this game, and I didn't want to, just parrot anything that someone else had said without, reacting for this for myself.
Yeah. I read a few of the commentaries on this, and I just felt like the moment I started reading them, I was like, okay, I don't want to have my own viewpoint skewed on this one in any way. So I agree wholeheartedly with that. I also want to address, too, is like, we're showing this leak. We were kind of talking about it for a second. And this is our first, if you notice, this is our first Watch and React on our Daily Gaming News here on Twitch. I think there should be a general understanding of what happened with Odyssey, looking at this work in progress, and kind of take the same kind of mindset we took with Odyssey and apply it here as we kind of dive into this gameplay. So if you're ready, I'm ready.
I'm ready. Wait, I have a question. What did you mean by keep in mind Odyssey gameplay?
So I feel like the thing about Odyssey was it took a minute for it to be really good. It wasn't good out the gate. It took almost like a year before it became an amazing game.
I see.
And that is where I'm kind of like along the lines of if maybe this is kind of the same process, or maybe this is how these devs work, that they've come out with what they have at first, they take in the feedback and everything, and then they apply it to their game, and it makes it stronger. That's why I'm saying it with this specifically.
So let's take a look. This is a long video, about 30 minutes long, so we're probably going to spend the rest of our of our news day reacting to this. If you don't want to see anything from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, this is not the footage for you to watch. But if you're like us and you're just like, hey, the more content, the better, then, join us for our first look.
Hey, what's up, Adam? Yeah, we also cannot wait for this.
So the quality also isn't that great because this is all leaked footage. So this is
like the best quality we could find, yeah.
And right off the bat, this looks just like The Witcher.
Yeah, I think that was
like Geralt.
That stood out to me. I was like, is this The Witcher 3?
Not like, Roach, but
then I'm actually kind of okay with it if you're saying it's like The Witcher 3, because The Witcher 3 was
a great game.
Yes, it's like my #1 game right now. Nothing's topped it. And so this is actually initially very, very impressive for me, and a honestly like a toned down version of Odyssey, because it doesn't look like there is a lot going on as there was with Odyssey's game, where it just felt like there was everywhere to go. This feels a little more like
open.
your hand is or your hand is being held a little bit more without too much on the plate, which they said was going to be the case. They were going to scale down how big the game was. Okay. All right. Took down the horse already. That's a bummer.
I'm looking at the abilities on the attacks you can do. I see there's arrows. Looks like a lightning thing. You can call your falcon or eagle. There's kicks, punches, and something with your sword.
Just threw his axes. That was something they were saying is going to be the case, that the axes are throwable.
Is that new? That kind of vision thing? I don't remember that in Odyssey.
I think
it glowed red.
Was possible, but wasn't it in like when you were hiding that you could do it?
Oh, I think so.
Also, I'm just immediately taken in by the scenery.
I like how there's people like, traveling by in the background.
Yeah. Graphics for a work in progress are very impressive.
Great. From what we can see at this quality.
Yeah. Oh, more wolves being a nuisance.
I will say Assassin's Creed did break away from the original story. Now it's just kind of like historical fiction game.
Yes.
I'm not mad about it, but it is, different.
Yeah, I think speculation's around $4.99 for PlayStation 5. Adam, Meg, I do miss the original story, but I also appreciate the shift in narrative, because I think one of the things was happening with Assassin's Creed, unfortunately, was more and more people were just kind of like, well, where does the story go from here? So
that's a good point.
I feel like they've now found themselves to be able to say, well, we're going to explore parallels to the main, Assassin's Creed aspect.
Right, I'd rather them, take a different direction than just kind of like extend the story for the sake of extending it, and then it becomes like Kingdom Hearts 3, where no one knows what's happening.
What is going on? I also like this. I guess this is like the cinematic camera mode that's going on here, which reminds me of Red Dead Redemption 2. There are moments when you're traveling to a location in Red Dead Redemption 2 that you could turn on this kind of like cinematic angle.
Oh, cool.
Men are pouring in from across East Anglia, and our ships stand ready.
Theodward's Reeve is with us. His men will be
She's so cool.
More than his. The Kingsbury Horn has inspired men all across this kingdom. We will have the army we need. It seems Oswald got what he wanted in the end. Saxon and Dane united in common cause.
A pity he's not here to see it.
The forces will be ready soon. Are you ready to start the assault?
I am.
Our target is Burg Castle, said to be impenetrable.
Good. Let them have their false confidence.
By cover of night, Valdis will lead the field at the front gates. With Rued's men distracted, our forces move on the sea gate from the Blackwaters at their backs.
And once we're in, we'll leave no gate closed in that castle.
This is the siege gameplay I believe they were talking about.
Your longship, is she ready?
She awaits her own special glory. They need your words, Abel.
For a long time you lived in fear. Your house is razed, your fields scorched. Now your chance has come. Fight to be free of this pain. Fight to be free of fear.
Freedom!
Now is the time. Today we rid East Anglia of Rued's clan, once and for all.
I love how everyone's got that eyeliner on.
Oh yeah.
Some eye black on there.
Right? The eyeliner of war.
Yeah. The cutscenes are very cinematic with all their angles.
Yeah. It's true. They've definitely made a push towards feeling more like an interactive movie.
You remember the dream?
I wonder how much like ship warfare there's going to be.
Yeah,
Because I
same.
really liked it in Odyssey. People said Black Flag was just great with that.
Yeah, agreed. I really hope this has the amount of ship battles as Black Flag.
I don't think in Odyssey you ever sailed through storms, did you? It was always like sunny all the time.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
recall.
slightly rainy.
Yeah, I don't think I remember this kind of like, you could see the ships disappearing and kind of like reappearing in the distance.
Another glory I will keep.
Will they have sea shanties though? Because that was one of my favorite parts.
That was
about
really
sailing.
cool. That was
Ship
really
things
cool.
will see us coming.
Oh, that's awesome. The lightning is slowly revealing how far you are away
That's
from,
cool.
from the land.
Ready yourselves to brace, men.
I wonder if maybe you'll be moving in kind of a more of fleets versus
Oh,
just
yeah.
like one massive ship.
From the air. Arrows! Brace!
Oh, no.
Jeez.
Dragons take them swiftly.
Holy amount of flaming arrows.
How many is that?
Close one, that was!
That is a ridiculous amount of flaming arrows.
Harden yourselves, men!
Wow.
How is your ship not sunk after just one of those?
One barrage of those things.
Right? You're done.
Hold for impact! Hold!
Wow.
I don't know if this is a leaked footage thing. Hopefully there's not going to be a loading thing in the middle of that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm cool with like cinematics being loading screens.
Yeah.
But that moment it stops and it takes you out of the moment to watch the thing tick away. Okay. Let's see Eivor go in there and kick some booty.
Forward! Get that ram in place! We need to open these gates!
Charge! For Oswald! Put that glorious ram to use! Ruined dogs are all gone! Prepare to cut them down! This is...
I remember there were some mass battle fights in Odyssey that were really cool, and I was impressed at how they made them work, and this doesn't seem to compare to those.
No, it doesn't.
In intensity. Like, for a while, Eivor was just kind of like strolling around.
And then some enemies. Hopefully it changes once they burst through the gate and there's a bunch behind it.
I think this battering ram thing is cool. I don't remember that being in Odyssey, or if it was, I don't think I got to that part.
And thank you, Adam. I appreciate that compliment. I'm happy if I have that kind of reminder. This is cool.
This is cool.
There we go. All right. Oh, you can't roll over them?
Yeah. No one's attacking us while we do this?
I think this is where it's again a work in progress that we take in with this. I mean, they're getting lit up right there. Oh yeah, the hot oil. A ton of damage there. Very fast. Oh yeah, that dual axe fight. You know how we were having that conversation one time about like Dark Souls type games and the combat? I like this kind of combat. This is very Witcher, style, where it's not every time you don't counter, you lose all of your health.
Right. You still have to dodge and predict and time things out, but it's not it's not as punishing.
Right. Oh, he just went
being
right
on
into the
fire.
Yeah.
I do like all the different, weaponry that's happening, and the exploding pots with the arrows, with the flames everywhere, with the battering ram, with the axes, with the shields.
Hey, another Chris. That's awesome. Yeah, the climbing right up the side. I was like, where are we getting the scaling, the building scaling?
Yeah, how does that fit into Vikings? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe Assassin's Creed is like, we know that you expect you can climb anything, so you just can't.
It's the one aspect of the game we just really can't take away.
No.
Just let it exist. I will say, just like some of these attacks are very damaging. Oh, okay. All right. I wonder if some of the brutality will actually throw off the fighters. Like if you see somebody just get their head cut off in front of you with ease, would you be like,
interesting.
Do I want to keep fighting this
I'm gonna
person?
hold off a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like some games where if you like kill an enemy, the rest like run away. They're like, we're not
Yeah.
doing this.
Run! Yes. I want to live.
How do you climb that?
Yeah.
I love it.
Just right up. No questions asked. I'm up.
Fences don't get nothing on me.
You build a wall, cool. I'll just get right over.
Oh, I see you can like pick up weapons to throw all the time.
Nice.
Stomp.
It was brutal. Exactly, Kai. That's exactly right. Kai Almighty said it best. Can you call it an
Right?
Assassin's Creed game without the wall climbing? I don't think you can. Just like there has to be a point where you dive off into a barrel of hay or leaves.
Yeah, the leap of faith or something.
Yeah. That they're just a magically resistant to gravity type space of hay.
They're like, it's cool. We can like drop out the whole storyline with the, you know, searching for something in history. You just are in history now, but we cannot give up scaling walls.
Nope. I wonder who's the person that's always losing their hay. You know what I mean? They're just that farmer,
My
or, you
hay!
know. Why is it my hay just keeps going missing? Why? Why does it end up under these really large towers?
One part of Odyssey that always wowed me was how brutal some of the like finishes or final blows were, and I don't think we've seen many of those yet. But
Yeah.
hopefully those are coming.
We know from what they did say was like the skill tree is as large as Odyssey, so that might be part of unlocking
you
that
level
hasn't
up.
happened yet. There are so many cool games coming, and especially this year. Not only are we looking at this one that I think many people are excited for, but of course Cyberpunk,
Of course, Cyberpunk. Of course, Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima,
Ghost of
which is
Tsushima coming out.
10 days, yes. 10 days away. Cannot wait to download.
You're the eagle. You have like an eagle or falcon in this game too.
Yeah, that's right. It might be Odin.
Right.
He lives. Oswald lives! Stand fast!
Oh gosh.
Well met. Onward, everyone! Onward!
Yeah. Feels about right. Nice, that's cool.
I wonder how
Hey!
old.
Thank you, Miss Autumn Rose. Thank you for the follow.
Oh, thanks. I wonder how old this gameplay footage is. That got
Good
leaked.
question.
Because I was initially like, oh, they've got a lot of work to do. This game is coming out like the end of the year, but this footage could have been from like a year ago.
Very well could have. I've seen select portions from the game. Dr. Gonzo, I believe your stealth checks will be high enough for you to execute this. Oh, okay. All right.
Oh.
That was pretty brutal.
Some of the clothing still feels very Odyssey to me, but maybe that was just, maybe that still
Okay.
is accurate to the time.
All right,
Yeah,
that was
those are
also
the finishes I was looking for.
there. It is.
That kind of
okay.
stuff is what I want from this game.
Yes, the shield bashing of death, always a good move. I love the clearly the work in progress. Do you see the one person just standing there?
Yeah.
There's like the one NPC that's
It's
just
just
like,
NPC in the way.
yeah. He's in shock. He's just in shock. He's like, I'm dead fighting.
KAISA'S, do you think they leaked the footage on purpose? I don't think they leaked this on purpose.
Yeah. Agreed.
You shit.
I also feel like the person playing it doesn't necessarily feel like somebody who's developing it. Some choices have felt kind of like the moment of shooting the barrel or like decision making.
Right.
Kind of, usually, like when a dev is playing it, you see they've been playing it for quite some time.
Right, and part of why I don't think it's leaked is, you know, right at the beginning of the fight, instead of, you know, running into the fight, they like checked their rations and kind of were like standing around before actually going in.
Yeah.
They didn't seem like they were trying to show off.
I'm now curious about this horror version of Animal Crossing that Adam has just talked about. I'm still horrified by some of these basic, you know, fatalities.
Slayer.
All right.
Nice.
I love still having the big Spartan kick.
Yeah, such a good move.
Yep.
In some of the reviews of this footage, people were kind of... They didn't like that there was so much of the fight style from Odyssey in this, but I'm like, but some of those things were good. You know, if people like them, why change it?
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's like complaining about, man, Grand Theft Auto, it's just the same. You open the car
there's
with
cars,
you know, you get into planes. This just feels like, you know, Grand Theft Auto 3. Yeah. Not broken, don't
This whole fight is long, I will say.
It is.
Or it's like there were some cutscene moments in the middle, but it still just feels like, you know, battle of a bunch of people after battle of a bunch of people after battle of a bunch of people. I wonder if actually playing it doesn't feel as repetitive, or you know, if this is going to be a lot of what the game is like.
Yeah, and that could be right there, Kane. He could be a game tester. So that would make more sense for the leak. Somebody was, you know, part of the testing, screen recorded it, and leaked it through an anonymous source. There are definitely some things here that I don't think.
What's that, lady?
Ubisoft would want to be showing.
Right, like the NPC just standing there.
Your battle is not yet won or
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, the audio on those arrows is really nice.
Yep. Oh, love it. The throwing action.
Kill the wolf.
Yeah.
Had to do it.
Oh, boss fight. There we go. Big ol' mud stump.
Wolf-kissed. Made thralls, not treated as equals. We are better than this. Than all of them.
Do not drag me down to the sewage you wallow in.
I liked that in the middle of the fight.
Valhalla is my destiny.
Here we go.
Wow.
Thank you. You evil. No, he should be. I won't.
The rightful king of East Anglia has spared
Same,
your
you know,
life
that
today,
morality
and
system.
so it will be.
What do your choices do? How do they have an effect on the world?
So since we only have a couple minutes left, what are your overall impressions of what we've seen so far?
For me, it's that kind of takeaway of, like I was saying prior, was just like, I think Odyssey had such a wonderful impact on everybody who played it. Going into the Viking story and setting and, you know, all the different features that they've talked about, I'm still excited. Minus, of course, some of the elements of what a work-in-progress footage looks like. And I did work on games for like a year at Electronic Arts. And you just know that games, when you see them before release, are just... They're so hard to make a judgment on because of that. A lot can change in 1 month before a game comes out, because just the tests, the testing that's happening and the devs that are working on it. So, you know, I want to reserve some of my critique on a work in progress,
That's
but
fair.
just talk about, like, you know, I trust with what they did on the last game. I'm excited with this new storyline scaling down. I do want to see more, like the flighting. I would have loved to have been able to see some of that as well. And the recruiting, they said that you get to recruit people to your village, and some of that aspect as well.
I really like the environment. I really like the storm and the rain. I don't think we really got that in Odyssey. Since this is Viking themed, I was hoping for more snow. We haven't seen a lot of snow in even the trailer, but I was like, oh, like Vikings, you know, snowy on the ships. But this does take place in like very early England, or you know, like Anglo-Saxon area, and which is an interesting choice. Now I was like, but why isn't it in like farther up north? Which is a story choice, which is fair. Thank you so much, Kane, for the support.
Thank you, Kane. Thank you.
I am looking forward to, hopefully they're going to release, you know, more official game or official game footage. This wasn't remotely official game footage at all. But I am looking to see, you know, if they have made improvements, because, you know, this is a work in progress, but I wonder if it is going to be polished, or if this is going to be like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where it does take a year to kind of, you know, fill its own shoes.
Yeah, I would say either way it goes, the game at some point, I think, will reflect the prior. I think if one thing we paid attention to from Origins to Odyssey, things that we saw jump around from, you know, Black Flag and on, they've gotten better with their game development. So I wanna believe, just like how I believe with Cyberpunk, is that we're going to see a game created by these devs that is going to be as good as the previous one. In the series. And yes, Kai also being amazing with it. Kai, Kane, thank you both so much. But that does bring us to the end of the Daily Gaming News Hour for July 7th.
Thank you so much for joining us today with all the topics we covered about Warzone, about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We have a lot of news coming for you tomorrow when we are back online from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes, we will be talking about Mortal Shell as the beta is now open, and also another juicy rumor talking about the new Batman game.
So definitely be here tomorrow for that news, but this is it for us. If you are watching on Twitch, don't forget to throw us a follow. You can't sub to us yet, but that button's gonna be coming soon.
Yeah.
Once we hit affiliate on this new account.
It's coming.
It's coming. This will be posted on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, this show is live on Twitch, where you can join us in the chat and chat with us about what's going on as we talk about it.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Hey, gamer, you did just miss us, but definitely tune in and check it out on YouTube. Come in and tune tomorrow. We can't do this without all of you. So just thank you all so much for being here, supporting us, and continuing this passion of ours with Daily Gaming News. And for Daily Gaming News, I am Marrone.
I am Kaisa. Thank you so much, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
See you guys.